I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Those four phrases are kind of a shorthand for something bigger. So let's say that there's something going on. In fact, people can play along right now. The people that are watching or listening to this wonderful podcast, they probably got something in their lives that's a bit of a problem, bit of a struggle, bit of a challenge, not quite sure how to resolve it, what to do about it. Could be with a family member, a neighbor, or a coworker, a vendor, who knows. And the first thing to realize is that that problem is not outside of you. It seems like it is, but your entire experience of the problem is internal. It's internal. The only way you know it's a problem is that you're feeling it, and you're feeling it inside of yourself, and you've created it inside of yourself because of your perception. What Ho'oponopono is doing is cleaning up your perception. In fact, Ho'oponopono is a Hawaiian word that means to make right. To make right. What are you making right? Your view of the world. And what are you cleaning? You're cleaning up your perception.
Dr. Joe, welcome to the Book Thinkers Life-Changing Books podcast. I am very excited to have you on today. I've been a fan for a long time. I just finished listening to Zero Limits, and we have so much to cover. My first question is about the ho-ho method. Tell me about the first time you heard of a therapist who healed people without seeing them and how you reacted to those stories.
Yeah, boy, you want to start at the deep end. I first heard of an unusual therapist who helped heal an entire ward of mentally ill criminals at a state hospital in Hawaii around 2003, 2004. And how did I respond to that story? Complete dismissal. Complete dismissal. It's like, I believe in magic and miracles, and some pretty amazing things can happen. But for a therapist to help heal mentally ill criminals, and he actually didn't work directly on them. He used some kind of weird technique that I later learned was called Ho'oponopono. And he used this ho-ho method on himself. And as he seemed to heal himself, those patients got better. I mean, this was too preposterous to believe. I thought it was an urban legend. It sounded like a great story from the world of fiction, but not reality. But a year later, I heard the story again, and I thought, well, somebody better sniff this out, because if it really is true, I need to know what the method is. How can it help me, and how can it help the world? And so the seed was planted, but my first response was pure skepticism.
Isn't it funny how you could be in the space, personal
Right.
development, spirituality, whatever you want to call it, and still dismiss an idea like that? But listen, it happens to me all the time. And
You
so,
do.
in your world today, Dr. Joe, are there still things you hear about that you immediately dismiss, but you do a little bit of research for?
Absolutely, all the time. This is why I'm on a mission to find out if we actually have any limits. This is
Mm.
why one of the most popular books of mine is called Zero Limits. The most recent book of mine is called Zero Limits Living. I've got a movie coming out called Zero Limits. I'm exploring whether we have any limits or not, because I keep running into the reality that we don't seem to have any limits. So to answer your questions, yes, I keep hearing about stories that seem impossible, but then when we look under the hood and find out the facts, it's like, no, this is not only true, it's reputable, it's probable, it can happen to all of us. So I'm doing my best to keep my mind open. I still find limiting beliefs, but I've also learned to question them, tear them down, and keep moving forward.
Well, I want to go a little bit deeper into your experience
Mhm.
researching the ho-ho method in just a moment,
Right.
maybe that initial email exchange with the therapist that you had heard
Yes.
about.
Yeah.
But first, let's talk about limiting beliefs for a minute. Why is it, and maybe it's just in the West or maybe it's over the entire world, but why is it that the average person comes out of the public education system or graduates in some other way from our normal societal structure full of limiting beliefs? I mean, it just seems like the system is designed to keep people questioning themselves and questioning our reality and putting limits on what we're capable of.
It has nothing to do with the educational system. It has everything to do with our way of life. And it
Mm.
is not isolated to just the US. This can be found in every country, in every corner of the entire planet. We are born into a culture that has built-in limiting beliefs. And because the culture itself is not awakened, none of us actually come in as Buddha. We come in and we download all of the beliefs from family and friends, from religion, from the school system, from the government, from the media. We soak it up without any questioning whatsoever. I've traveled enough around the world to see that every country has its own culture, and some of it's at first shocking because you're going, well, I'm an American. What are they doing believing this? But it's their beliefs unique to their culture in their country. They're very innocent about what they've downloaded. We are in the United States as well. So there's nobody to blame here. I think it's really the mission of life. I've come to the conclusion that life is all about awakening. And what are we awakening to? To these beliefs that we've inherited, we've downloaded, we didn't question. And now, because of books, because of shows like what you're doing, the word gets out that, hey, wait a minute, maybe I actually don't need these limiting beliefs. Maybe these limiting beliefs were part of a structure that has been going on since time began. And what we can do is question it, transcend it, and move beyond it and experience by God miracles that we then end up writing about and talking about and sharing with other people, which helps them remove their limiting beliefs. So there isn't any one particular cause, and the belief system is fairly invisible because when we are born into it, we soak everything up without knowing we're soaking it up. It's like being born as a baby and you learn the language and learn how to walk and everything else just by living day by day and absorbing what's around you. You absorb the limiting beliefs as well.
Oof, we've already had our first, I'd say, mic drop moment of the podcast today, Dr. Joe. I'll have to go back and listen to that one more time. I I'm wearing a shirt today that says read less, apply more.
I
And
see
so
that.
my question for you is somebody reads one of your books and they awake for the first time, but they choose not to implement what they've read, and so they fall back into that dream, or they fall back into that limited belief system, that's coming from every way, shape, and form and direction at them all the time, and we're just soaking it up. How do you stay in the mindset that you've seemed to stay in for a very long time, where you're open and you're learning and you're curious and you're absorbing and you're staying away from those limits?
Yeah. You have to feed the freedom. You have
Mm.
to feed the freedom. And what that means is, and I just made up that phrase on the spot here. What that means is you need to be around the people who are soaking this up and acting on it. There is nothing like having support. I have found that the greatest breakthroughs in my life came when I had people who believed in me and what I could do more than I believed in me and what I could do. That is one of the secrets to success. I have found that reading these books, especially biographies of people who had really odds that just seemed like they're crucified. They can't get out of these situations, yet they did. And when you read these stories, you start to go, oh, if they got out of it, maybe I can get out of it. And then when you create a support team or you get into a coaching program or you get into a mastermind, you are elevated by the mindset and the energy of everybody there. Plus, you get to help them with your energy and mindset as you're both helping each other to grow, to expand, to keep moving forward. I'm also a great believer in finding out what are you watching on TV? What movies are you absorbing? What are you listening to music wise? What are you listening to audio wise? Because all of this is feeding you. And most of the time, we are unconsciously feeding our limitations with music, with movies, with things that keep us down. They confirm lack, they confirm struggle, they confirm limitation. And what we want to do is go in the opposite direction. We want to read the success literature of the world, and we want to listen to music and spoken audio that is more uplifting, and we want to watch things on TV or documentaries, the talking head movies, all of this, whether it's The Secret or movies like I have a movie coming out. Any of this kind of stuff helps feed the freedom so we can keep moving forward and make this easier.
If Feed the Freedom really just emerged on this conversation live, I hope it makes it into a future book title or presentation of yours, because that's brilliant. And
It
we
does sound like a good title, doesn't it?
It does. It does. It really does. And we've had Brian Tracy on the show a couple of times, and he talks
Oh,
about the
that's
law of
great.
accumulation. And you're totally right. What you're consuming. Sometimes people think about, this year I read 10 books or this year I read 15 books, but they forget about the 500 hours of reality TV with negative
Yes.
relationships and gossip that they consumed. And they forget about it. They're only looking at the positives and they forget about the negative momentum. And so what a
Mhm.
brilliant way that you just used to describe that. I'm going to remember that. Feed the freedom, not the whatever the opposite of freedom is, right? The negative
Right.
belief systems.
Right. The limitations. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So you've mentioned the movie. Tell us a little bit about the movie that's coming out.
I'm very excited. Ever since I was in the movie The Secret, which again, that was about 20 years ago.
I just rewatched it in prep for this interview, by the way,
Oh,
and
cool.
I
Well,
can't
I am
believe it was
very,
almost 20 years ago.
yeah, it was about 20 years ago, but I saw the impact that a movie could have. That movie, now 20 years old, is still being seen, still being talked about, still inspiring people, still traveling around the world. And as much as I'm a book freak, I'm a bookaholic, I write books, buy books, share books, review books, give books. I mean, this is my life. But the average person is not reading books. The average person is in front of their TV or in front of their computer. And this is why something like The Secret was so necessary when it came out. Its message was not new. The law of attraction, the power of the mind, and so forth, it's been around for centuries. I had a lot of books from the 1800s that had that book or that message spelled out. But those people were not reading those books. When they sat in front of their TV and they got to just kind of eat popcorn, lay back, and get their mind blown with this movie called The Secret, I saw that I need to get a movie out there about some of the things that go beyond The Secret. The Secret is wonderful. I would endorse it whether I was in it or not. If people haven't seen it, go see the movie The Secret right now and watch it repeatedly. It's got a great message in it. But that's like kindergarten or first grade in terms of what's possible for us. And as I kept growing, I've been in 30 other movies at this point, all with different messages, but usually around success and positive thinking and law of attraction kind of stuff. I kept thinking, I need a movie that'll reach the masses about this concept that we're calling the ho-ho method, oponopono, that I first wrote about in Zero Limits. Well, I'm pleased to say the movie is done, and they can see the trailer at zerolimitsmovie.com. The trailer's at zerolimitsmovie.com right now. The world premiere, VIP, red carpet, covered by the media, Los Angeles Tribune, and everything will be June 26th in Sacramento. You can get tickets at zerolimitsmovie.com. Later in the year, it'll be on Apple TV, Amazon, and wherever the big streaming resources are. But this movie explains and demonstrates Ho'oponopono and even has a segment in there with that crazy therapist that I ended up working with and doing seminars with, who had helped heal that entire ward of mentally ill criminals in Hawaii using this ho-ho method on himself. So anyway, Zero Limits the movie. I finally can say I got a movie coming out.
Oh, it's amazing. I aspire to say the same thing one day, Dr. Joe, and I'll make sure that we put the zerolimitsmovie.com link in today's show notes so everybody can
Oh,
check it
thank
out
you.
and maybe even
Yeah.
travel and get a ticket and attend the premiere. That would be pretty cool.
It would be cool. I'm going to be there. A lot of the cast that is there will be there. Media will be there. Photographers will be there. It's a big deal. It's the VIP red carpet. So there's planes that go to Sacramento from all points of the world. Get on one and come on over.
That is taking action on the information you learn on today's podcast. I'll tell
There
you
you
what.
go.
So that's a perfect bridge back to the crazy therapist who healed people that were mentally ill without ever
Yeah.
seeing them. So tell us how you first got in touch with him. I believe it was via email, and the exchange was really interesting to read or listen to
Yeah.
that you outline in Zero Limits.
Well, first of all, it's important to understand that back then in 2003, 2004, there was no information about Ho'oponopono. There was no information about the therapist. I didn't know his name. I didn't know how to find him. I didn't know how to locate anything about this bizarre, esoteric, woo-woo, crazy guy and whatever he was doing. And so going on Google and all the things that you would try to do today, you can find information easily, but not back then. I actually hired a private detective to find him for me, and he did find him, and I got the therapist on the phone. The first time was on the phone, and his name is Dr. E. Haleakala Hulin. And when I was on the phone with him, he said, "Just call me E." And I said, "E?" He said, "Yes, just call me Dr. E." And that was my first taste of his eccentric humor. But he spent 45 minutes on the phone with me, answered all kind of questions, confused me beyond belief, because he did say it was true. He worked at the hospital, mentally insane people. They were shackled or sedated every day. And he did what he was calling this Ho'oponopono method, which I couldn't even spell or pronounce at the time and had no clue what it meant. And he said his only job was to clean, and that didn't make any sense to me. But he was referring to cleaning his limiting beliefs. As he cleaned his limiting beliefs, the outer world reflected the new him. And he did that at the hospital when he was cleaning up his perceptions of what he was seeing, and he got some degree of healing and clarity in himself. It was reflected with the patients not being needed to be shackled or sedated. This is amazing. Anyway, I was thoroughly confused. And he said he was doing a workshop in Calabasas, California. I don't know if it was the next week or weekend, but I was on a plane. I went there and I was in the room. And again, this is when nobody knew what the Ho Ho method was. I think there were 10 people in the room. In later years, after my book came out and I did promotions about him and Ho Ho Ho'oponopono, his seminars would have 800 to 1,000 people in the room. But when I first discovered him, it was like nobody knew what this was. And I thought he was strange, he was likable, he was lovable, but he was mystical, eccentric, and weird. And that was my introduction, most of which I talk about in the book, Zero Limits, because I narrate the whole thing about how I heard about him, how I wrote about him, how I flew out there to meet him, how I experimented with the Ho'oponopono method on myself, and then slowly started to become, I guess I would say I was an evangelist for it, because I thought, my God, this stuff works. And the world needs to know. I need to get on stages. I need to be out there in the world. I need to tell the world. And when I would tell Dr. Hulin that, he was like, the world doesn't need to know. I just need to clean myself. And as I use Ho'oponopono on myself, the world will get better. Well, I didn't, no, I'm a marketing guy as well as an author. It's like, no, the world needs to know. Anyway, this is where it all started.
Yeah, it's amazing. And as I was listening to the book, and you do a wonderful job with the audiobook, as I was listening to it, sounds like he took a special liking to you at some of these early seminars that you were attending, these workshops. It was almost described as he was picking on you a little bit, but in a very positive and constructive way. Why do you think that was?
I don't know. We did 3 seminars together, and I knew him over a 10-year period. And we wrote the first book allegedly together. The truth be known, I wrote the first book. We shared authorship, but he didn't even read the book. When I gave him Zero Limits as a manuscript and said, "Hey, I've written this book. Let's see what you want to add to it. You want to change, you want to correct." And he put his hand on it and he said, "Divine says it's fine. Divine says it's fine." He didn't even read the freaking book. And this is how he acted. I saw him when he would be eating lunch, for example, and people would want to walk over and ask questions, and he would cut them off and say, "I'm eating." And it was like this psychic roadblock he just put up, like, "Don't bother me, I'm eating." But if I walked over and said anything, he stopped. He talked to me. And we had walks together, we had coffee together. He came to my home when I was living in Texas. He stayed in the Texas hotel that I had set up for him. We did 3 events. One, I think 2 were in Texas, one was in Maui. We spent a lot of time together, and I did see that he could be cold and blunt with most people, but he seemed to be open with me. And who knows? He's gone now. He died a couple years ago. So I don't know. I can only speculate. Who knows? It was my cologne. He liked what I was wearing. I have no idea.
It's probably the cologne, probably the cologne. I think as I was going through the book, just like you, I didn't immediately dismiss it, I'll say, because I'm pretty deep down this personal development rabbit hole at this point. And
Mm.
But I was trying to wrap my head around the cleaning process. And
Yeah.
obviously, you go through a very detailed, or at least I would say as detailed of an explanation as you were allowed to give inside of the
Yeah.
book, just a preview for the process almost. Um, but I tried it immediately. And you're not cleaning yourself. Sort of, you are sort of doing it for other people, but yeah, it feels good at the same time. So kind of describe what that means. The
Yeah.
audience is probably like, okay, Dr. Joe's talking about cleaning himself. Like, does he mean with a bar of soap in the shower? Like,
Right. Well,
what is that process?
I totally get it because that's what I was thinking when he told me that he was cleaning himself. What the hell are you talking about? Are you using window cleaner? I didn't know what he was doing. Anyway, first of all, the basic Ho'oponopono process is as simple as can be. It's four phrases. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. You can run down the street and live your life using those four phrases. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And the four phrases are said inside yourself. You virtually never say them out loud. You virtually never say them to anybody else. You're saying them inside yourself to your connection to what I'll call a higher power. Dr. Hulen always called it the divine. It was the divine. Somebody else might say God, somebody else might say a higher power. Napoleon Hill said infinite intelligence, which I always like that phrase. So it's something bigger than you, it's something that is more than you. And you're kind of having a prayer, a petition, a request to it. So it's an internal communication to your connection to. I've also written a song called The Great Something. It's to the great something. And you're saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Those four phrases are kind of a shorthand for something bigger. So let's say that there's something going on. In fact, people can play along right now. The people that are watching or listening to this wonderful podcast, they probably got something in their lives that's a bit of a problem, bit of a struggle, bit of a challenge, not quite sure how to resolve it, what to do about it. Could be with a family member, a neighbor, or a coworker, a vendor, who knows. And the first thing to realize is that that problem is not outside of you. It seems like it is, but your entire experience of the problem is internal. It's internal. The only way you know it's a problem is that you're feeling it, and you're feeling it inside of yourself, and you've created it inside of yourself because of your perception. What Ho'oponopono is doing is cleaning up your perception. In fact, Ho'oponopono is a Hawaiian word that means to make right. To make right. What are you making right? Your view of the world. And what are you cleaning? You're cleaning up your perception. So you're saying, I'm sorry for whatever this belief is, wherever it came from. It could have come from the culture, it could have come from my parents, it could have come from my ancestors. We don't know. But I'm sorry for wherever the belief came from. Please forgive me, and in Ho'oponopono, they extend it to everybody. Please forgive me and my heritage, my downline, my lineage. Please forgive everybody that might have been involved in this creation. Thank you for the cleaning, for the clearing, for the deleting of the limiting beliefs, for the repair of my perception. And I love you for the process, for my life, for this cleaning, and for this clearing. Now, you don't usually say that explanation. I'm saying it for everybody to understand what those four phrases are doing. So inside yourself, even right now, you might be noticing, oh, I'm not happy about such and such or whoever. Well, that's inside of you. It's not outside. Dr. Hulen would say in events, have you ever noticed that when you have a problem, you are there? You're there because you're participating in it. You're actually even creating it. So inside yourself, you're saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, and repeating it, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And it's a dialogue, it's a prayer, it's a petition. And as you're doing this, you're looking for that resolution in you. When you feel like you've gotten some level of tranquility, you can let that particular issue go. Dr. Len said you shouldn't really stop Ho'oponopono. If you're saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, why stop? Just keep going. And for me at this point, having been doing this for over 20 years, it's the background audio in my head, even right now. So that is the essence. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. It is all an internal experience. What you're cleaning are your perceptions of what you're calling a problem. And what you're looking for is a resolution, a cleansing, a clearing, a clarity about what you were calling a problem. And as you achieve that, the outer world reflects your change. The person who was probably causing you what seemed to be the problem might leave, might change their mind, might move on, or it just simply doesn't bother you anymore. Anyway, there's your tutorial on
No, it's
Ho'oponopono.
listen, that's an incredible explanation. And it works, and it works pretty quickly. And that
Yes,
was going to be one of my follow-up questions for you, which was, you know, at what point do you release and let go? And I think let's tying it to the secret, you get more of what you focus on. And if you focus
yes,
on the problem and you hold on to it forever, sometimes, if you're not letting go at some point, you're just consistently reinforcing the perception. And so I think the
yes,
letting go piece is really important. You don't meditate on it forever, you don't reflect on it forever, but you do it until you feel at ease and then you move on.
exactly. And a lot of people will say, when do you stop? And as I pointed out, Dr. Hulen said, if you knew how much cleaning and clearing and healing was being done when you said those four phrases, you would never stop.
Mm,
I've often called it, it's like the street sweepers. I know people that are watching or listening are in different parts of the world, but in some parts of the world, you have snow blowers that go out in the winter and they clean the street at 3 in the morning so you can go to work the next day. Or in other parts of the world, you have the people that clean the streets. They're out there street cleaning and street sweeping so that in the morning you go, you never saw the street sweeper, but the road is clear and you can go to your journey. Ho'oponopono was like the street sweeper or snowblower of life. It cleans your road or path through life so that before you hit any blocks, they were already removed.
mm.
That's the power of doing Ho'oponopono on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's an amazing tool. And I hope that this podcast helps more people adopt the process on a more regular basis. And yeah, that would be the dream. Everybody is constantly cleaning and living in unity and feeling amazing about themselves and everybody that they interact with, huh?
It is. That's the vision, and that's also the challenge. That's also the reason for us to start doing the ho-ho method.
Absolutely. And your movie will play a big role in that as well. Now, you just mentioned one of the songs that you've written.
Yes.
You said The Great Something.
Yeah, The Great Something was one of the songs of one of my albums. Yes.
Yeah, so talk to us a little bit about your music because I sometimes struggle to find music that I can consume that,
Yeah.
again, through the lens of the law of accumulation, is pushing me in the right direction. Because a lot of the music out there today, let's just say on general radio stations or top 100, I mean, geez, that's not stuff you want to consume on repeat all day long, right?
Well, that's another example, though, of how we are programmed without knowing we're being programmed. I've often told people if you really can't get what you want, you can probably thank the Rolling Stones. They've been singing You Can't Get What You Want since 1965. And we have been dancing to the song and snapping our fingers to the song and just getting it. The lyrics are an affirmation of negativity. You can't always get what you want, but you get what you need.
Mm,
That
such an
is a
amazing
limiting
example.
belief.
Yeah.
So, about over 13 years ago, when I had turned 60 at that time, it was on my bucket list to be a musician because I looked around and said, well, you've done quite a bit. What else is here? I thought, oh, I have guitars, I like music. And so I deep dived into becoming a musician. I had to face every fear that you could imagine here. I'm too old, not talented. What do people think? I'm going off brand here. It's going to ruin my reputation, ruin my life. Oh, there was a lot of darkness that surfaced. And of course, I have a lot of techniques, including the ho-ho method, that I was able to aim at all these limiting beliefs and clean them up. And the end result was I decided I was going to be the world's first self-help singer-songwriter. The world's first self-help singer-songwriter. Now, as it turns out, there's a lot of musicians that do that kind of thing, but they never called themselves that. So I kind of preempted the marketplace by saying I'm the world's first self-help singer-songwriter, and I had a blast. And I recorded 15 albums in about 8 or 9 years. And some of the songs were nominated for the Posy Award, which is the Grammys of positive music. Some of the songs and music have been used in different movies, including my movie. Zero Limits has at least a little bit of my music somewhere in there. I forget what the director used. And it's another example of facing a fear and facing a limitation and getting to the point where I could transcend it and actually become a musician. And I performed on stage, which was another terrifying moment with my band of legends. And after all of that, I got a standing ovation and thought, this is just amazing. To me, it's a further example of you can virtually have anything you want. You got to name it, you got to claim it, you got to clean up any of the limitations and so forth that show up, and you got to take action to move in the direction of it. But again, I don't know if we have any limits or not. It seems like we don't have any.
Name it, claim it, clean it, and take action. That's a
There you
beautiful
go.
4-step process right there.
I tell you, we're very productive here. We got a new book coming out, and now we have a 5-step
You have a
process.
framework for the book that's coming out? Yeah.
Right.
Feed the
Right.
freedom.
I'm going to talk to you more often. Yeah.
Where can the audience go to find your music? I'm excited to dive right in.
Well, thank you. I think it's everywhere music is played. It's on Apple, it's on Amazon, it's on Spotify, probably any place that you would name it, you would see it. I used to sell CDs and all the albums had CD sites and this, that, and the other, but it's like a lot of people don't have CD players in their new cars. They just want to stream it. So I would say go to Apple, go to Amazon, go to Spotify, and just type in my name, Dr.
All
Joe
right. Well,
Vitale and the Band of Legends.
we will include some of those links in there as well. Well, hey, I
Uh,
wanted to touch on one more subject with you before I let you go, and I'm sure you'll become a regular on the show because there's so many tools, like you said, in your toolbox that you get to aim at the problems you're looking to solve, and I'd love to
right.
explore some more of them. But before we press record, we were talking a little bit about martial arts and strongman
Yeah.
competitions, and I was sharing some of the physical challenges that I'm taking on right now. So tell us about that area of your life, because a lot of people, when they think of you, they think of spiritual guru. That's probably the wrong terminology, but that's what I think a lot of people see you as. But here you are, strongman competitions. I mean, what's that all about?
It's about Joe exploring his passions and dissolving his limitations. That's
Hmm.
what it's about. I'm a guy who has simply followed his passions in every degree. I've written 90 some books, 90 books. And during all of that time, every one of those books, I would just say, I got excited about this topic. And then I just went and did it. And it was the same thing with music. I got excited about the music, then just went and did it. Got excited about movies, especially after being in The Secret. And then after quite a bit of time, managed to create my own movie because I'm excited to get the movie out there and get the word out there. I've also done the same thing in athletics. I was in, I don't know, the Body for Life contest was way back 20 some years ago. I did that 9 times and got honorable mentions in it. Later, Bill Phillips did a transformation camp. I did that 3 times and have 3 medals on the wall over there for doing it. Along the way, I had met some of the strongmen, the guys who bend horseshoes and nails and hit a nail through a board with their hand. And they taught me how to do it. And they unleashed the madman. I used to bend nails and give them to people at lunch. And they're like, why? I'm like, who else has ever bent a nail for you in your entire life? Joe Vitale bent this nail for you. And so I'm exploring all of this, wanting to be Superman, wanting to find out if we have any limits, and having a blast doing it. I actually wrote one of my books was called Anything is Possible, which is 7 steps to doing the impossible based on some of the strongman training I had learned. And there's a picture of me on the cover with a pile of metal horseshoes and things, all of which I had bent by hand. And then it didn't stop. I turned 71 the end of last year, and I went to a martial arts class and signed up for mixed martial arts training at age 71. I've already got my gold belt, and I'm being tested tonight for the next belt. And I told them, My new goal is to be a black belt in mixed martial arts by age 75. And that's what I'm going for next. Why? Because I'm excited about it. And why else? Because I'm proving I don't think we have any limits, folks. Whatever it is that you want to do, choose that you're going to do it. And yeah, I have found that you need to get support. You need to have somebody that believes in you. That could be a coach, it can be a mentor, it can be a trainer. You need to have that evidence that this is entirely possible. The guy who invented the mixed martial arts training, Dave Cover, I got to meet him. He knew of me from The Secret, so he wanted to meet me. I wanted to meet him. And because he said, Joe, if you apply yourself, you go to the classes and you do the work, in about 4 years, you can have a black belt. That was the seed. That was the seed. And I thought, he just said it was possible, and he's the one who created the curriculum. And the next step was for me to be bold. And I mean, I don't know that I've said this publicly, so you're hearing this exclusive here, where I'm saying by age 75, I'm going to have a black belt in Cover's mixed martial arts. I already got my gold belt, which I'm wearing proudly. In fact, I was going to say I was wearing it right now, but I'm kidding. And, I'm doing these things to prove, at least to myself, there are no limits, zero limits.
Yeah, you are the kind of person I want to continue learning from, Dr. Joe, and I see myself following in your footsteps in a lot of ways. I'm constantly looking for ways to push boundaries, and just like you, I haven't found any limits. In fact, recently I was rereading Think and Grow Rich, and I stumbled upon that poem, which I have up on my wall, and I'll read for the audience as a way to wrap up today. It says, I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is just an employer, he gives you what you ask, but once you have set the wages, why you must bear the task. I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn dismayed that any wage I had asked of life, life would have willingly paid. And isn't that true financially, but also physically? I mean, you're a great example of that. If you ask for any wage, life will give it to you. No limits, no limits, no limits. What a great way to wrap up today. So, Dr. Joe, where can people go one more time to find out more about you, the movie, and everything in your world?
Well, I'm not hiding, so I'm easily found on the internet. I'm very active on social media. I post original content virtually every day on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm Dr. Dr. Joe Vitale, DrJoeVitale, on both of those places. The music is all over the place as well. The movies at ZeroLimitsMovie.com. I do have my own coaching program that I started 20 some years ago. It's at miraclescoaching.com. My books are on Amazon and wherever books are being sold. And the most recent book is Zero Limits Living, which I'm very proud of. That'll get
I'll be
people
adding
started.
that to my list soon.
Thank you.